So happy Friday, everybody. It was a really long week for me. I'm at the office doing this because I can't even do it at home. I can't work from home today. Stuff I want to talk about, there's a lot of things. First thing I want to talk about is Nintendo Direct. And Nintendo Direct, what it is it's a video that Nintendo pre-produces and puts on so that they don't have to go to E3 anymore. They're not there, they don't put anything up. So they hype everything up through these videos that they produce, and this week, it was specifically about the 3DS and the Switch for the fall lineup, which I'm super excited about. But the things that I am super excited about is every single RPG that is coming out for the Switch. So that's Xenoblade Chronicles, Project Octopath Traveler. That one looks pretty fun. For some reason, Doom is going to be there, and obviously there's going to be a graphical downgrade, but it's pretty damn cool to have a shooter on a handheld. I mean, they've tried to do that so many times on the PSP, the PS Vita, the DS lineup, all of them, and they're all kind of hit or miss just because you just can't really get the controls right. The screen is too small, and you can never have that true 60 frames per second on a shooter on a handheld. So I wasn't really that excited about Super Mario Odyssey, to be honest, but now after seeing this whole story thing, and I'm actually pretty excited to play it just because it's going to be more in the line of Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario 64. I really like those games. Those are really fun. I didn't really like the Super Mario Galaxy games too much. I thought they were good. They were okay, but not as much as Sunshine or 64. And also there's the DLC, the second DLC for Breath of the Wild, and they just unveiled those 4 amiibos for the Guardians. I want those so bad. Next is the iPhone 8X, 810. I'm not a big advocate for Apple anymore. I think that they've really gone down the way of, in terms of innovation. And it's really just more about marketing products that currently exist. You know, it's more about trying to keep Apple alive in this influx of lack of innovation from the company. I mean, besides that, I still have an iPhone. And you know, I would love to get something that's not an iPhone, you know, is it the Samsung or the Pixel, anything else, but the problem is that they're all the same price. They're like maybe $50 differences between the two devices, and it's like, well, you might as well just get the iPhone because you're used to it. That's the problem that I see, is that it's just the same price. Why not just get something that you're completely used to? So I'm not entirely too excited about the iPhone coming out, except that they finally have wireless charging, which is legit. I mean, I've been thinking that should have already be a standard in cars already, and I don't even know why they don't even have power mats in cars. It doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, so there's this comic book that I was following. It's for like the last few years. It's by this writer called Charles Soule. He writes Daredevil right now, exclusively for Marvel, but before that he was writing Swamp Thing. And the book that just finished is this book called Letter 44. It's a really cool book, a really good premise at the very beginning, where basically the previous president is exiting office and the new president comes in. It's kind of like a Bush to Obama transition, but in the comic book world. And in standard fashion, they always leave letters for the next president, right? So this is letter 44, going to the next president. And in this letter, they talk about, he talks about how there's this alien presence out in space that they have to address, that for the last 4 years of the previous president's presidency, there's been the manned mission to go and explore this, figure out what's going on. So the entire story is about who those aliens are and what's happening on Earth as it's happening. I think the book was really good. It was really fun, and I think it's like 35 issues. I thought it ended kind of in an epilogue fashion. If you read them all after another, I think it would be a better book. But just the ending, it doesn't feel solid. I really wish that you could have seen the main cast of characters as opposed to the epilogue style that it has. But it's definitely worth a read. It's from Oni Press. I always advocate for reading those smaller press companies because there is more creative control from the writers and the artists for their comic books. And the last thing I want to talk about for comic book news is Len Wein died. I can't pronounce his name. I never learned how. It's Wein. Anyway, Len died, and for those who don't know, he has a great legacy behind him. Of course, people know him a lot as the creator of Swamp Thing. And Swamp Thing is one of my personal favorite characters. I love him. I think he's such a great, cool character. And even in the Harley Quinn and Batman movie, he makes an appearance, and I actually thought it was pretty funny how he came in and came back out. But yeah, he passed away. There's a lot of other things that come under his name as well, as including Wolverine. He was a co-creator for the character of Wolverine during that time. What I think was really cool about him was that he came along during this time when the original writers, they were already old and they were looking for new writers to come in, and he was one of the first wave of writers to grow up with those characters and create new stories, right? So comic books, they've been around for over 100 years. DC has been around for over 75 years, and when you're that early on, the first 30 years of writing, it's almost like they were like new pioneers for the medium. He and like Marv Wolfman was one of them too, and it just kind of stinks that a lot of these writers are passing away this year and last year. I know that a lot of ads have been taken out just to be a little memoriam for them. So yeah, I'm wondering what it's going to be like when a lot of writers that I respect today, right, when they pass away, like Jeff Johns or Grant Morrison, when they pass away, what's that going to be like, right? Anyways, those are just what I want to talk about this week. What do you think? Are you looking forward to any of the new Nintendo Switch games coming out in the fall? Are you looking forward to buying an $8,000 to $1,000 iPhone? Are you a comic book aficionado and you want to just leave some thoughts with me about these comic book writers, including Letter 44? Let me know in the comments or just message me. Anyways, you can follow me at little_nerdbusters on Instagram just to see some toys and some comics that I collect. Anyways, until next time, have a good weekend, guys.